Oh, what's up, chat? Auspicious Boron, thanks for the sub. I appreciate the support. Coal Black and Seven Dwarfs racist version. I assume that that would look something like guys, it's just Mr. Popo. Nothing racist here. I was watching Sinners the other night, and I was kind of shocked at the fact that they had like properly racially accurate black people, in that they weren't just like casting like a bunch of relatively light-skinned black actors like you would see in like a millennial DEI production. It was actually like relatively dark-skinned black people to properly match the 1910s Deep South sharecropping setting. And I was just like, shit. Like, this is what happens when you have people who actually care about, like, race and stuff as in its context. I hate Sinners. The structure is so fucking bad. The vampires are sometimes evil and sometimes not for some reason. It's so fucking long for no reason. I haven't finished it. I only watched the first half. So my opinion might change if your complaint is that it's too long. But if you're not okay with movies that are over like 2.5 hours or whatever, however long it was in 2025, it's really shitty to be like go and seeing stuff in a theater. I generally agree with that they make movies too long, which is one of the reasons why I don't go to the movie theater anymore. I can't be bothered to do anything for like 2.5 hours in my life. Everybody just feels like, every director just sort of feels like they have excuse to make their movies as long as they want to. But I don't know why it ended up that way. It used to just be like, you only got to be a 3-hour movie if you were Lawrence of Arabia, and there was like an intermission in between. And then like every movie director started to think that they were Lawrence of Arabia. But we don't get intermissions. I feel like hands down the worst Tarantino movie, for example, is The Hateful Eight, where he's trying to be Lawrence of Arabia with a fucking intermission in between. And it's just like, bro, we don't want to be in the movie theater for like 3.5 hours. Come on, man. Like, I know you think that you have created like an epic masterpiece, but like, other people have other shit to do with our lives. Somebody described Sinners as corny. Again, I haven't finished the movie. In general, I just like start movies and then I like finish it on a separate date, which says something about our attention span in the year 2026. Even though I don't use TikTok and shit like that. But like, it's pretty long time. I feel like my attention lasts exactly an hour and 40 minutes. I know this because I would often have the timer on when I'd be drawing and doing drawing sessions for when I was like doing a commission where I'd have to record my time and like charge by the hour and stuff like that. And like when I'd be like, okay, I'm starting to lose my focus, I need to take a break, it would almost always be an hour and 40 minutes. So what that tells me is the 90-minute runtime is the correct runtime for a movie. And the fact that they decided to stray from that was very silly and stupid. There is nothing worse than a mediocre 2.5 hour film. Note that the runtime of The Batman in 2022 is fucking 2 hours and 55 minutes for a fucking Batman movie. Do they just want me to die in the chair or something? Like, what the fuck is this shit? I ended up watching The Batman because it was on Amazon Prime. But the only way to digest something like that is to eat it in, like, very small chunks. As in, like, you watch a little bit, then you watch a little bit at another time and stuff like that. Hypothetically speaking, do you look foreign enough for ICE to harass you? No. I look pretty white. Although, I'm pretty sure ICE is retarded to the point that they'll put, like, anybody in the jail. They're not even, like, doing proper KKK racial profiling at this point. I think it's literally just, like, police school dropouts, and they have no fucking idea what they're doing, so I wouldn't put it past them to, you know, put anybody, even a proper white boy, in jail, so who knows. Are you betting on nothing happens, or do you think something will happen? What? With ICE? Something happens to what? Something happens to me? Well, nothing's going to happen to me because I'm in Japan, where there is no ICE. And if you're talking about something happening to other people, it already has happened, just in case you haven't noticed. Things always happen. Kind of. Sometimes they never happen. Sometimes it feels like things always happen, and then we get used to the thing happening, and then we're like, nothing ever happens. If you're questioning, if you're thinking, if you're asking, is something is going to happen to ICE, as in Trump is going to be like, oh no, we've made a mistake by killing an innocent person. We must disband my paramilitary unit. Shame on what has happened. Then you clearly don't know how American society works. I think you need to worry about real ice, as in an icicle skewering your head first. I'm in Japan, it's not cold. Well, I shouldn't say Japan, I'm in Kansai region. You have any primary source for your booba reference material? What the fuck are you talking about? Primary source? You mean like a busty female sitting next to me? My booba reference material is the internet. Like any website or model. I like the version of Constrictor that instead of trying to ask understated questions that have to be elaborated on, I just ban them because they're talking about Futa cock. I mean, the question is kind of difficult to answer because I'd need a different fucking reference for whatever pose I'm drawing. So if you're asking like if there's just a single location you can go to get references for all the drawings that you want to do or whatever, it's like no, obviously. You guys don't understand. Breasts are pieces of fat. So the shape of the breast changes depending on what kind of clothes it is in, what kind of posture the female is in. It changes from character to character. I can't just have like one breast reference. That's not how this shit works. You're confusing him? It's a very poorly stated question that sounds like it was asked by someone who doesn't do a lot of drawing themselves. I own a pair, so I understand them well enough. Based on information you've revealed on stream, well, I won't insult you too poorly, but if I wanted a physics model for drawing boobs the size of like the sun, I don't know if Hystrixia is a good help on this one. Ironically, there's actually very little reference material for small-chested females. So if you actually want to do nudes of different degrees of flat, you actually have to spend more time looking for flat references. In some ways, it's harder to do like semi-flat boobs because like the pectoral muscles and like the rib cage kind of start to play a bigger effect when they're at like a B cup or so, I feel. One of my dumb patrons asked for Absolute Zatanna, and I was like, wait, someone wants the non-classic versions of Zatanna, so I'm just going to draw classic Zatanna, and then draw non-classic Zatanna next to her. And be like, here. I gave you the inferior version as well. C is just ample enough. Just ample enough is when the boob is so large it has its own gravity field and begins to crush objects around it due to the Newtonian gravity fields. That's just common sense. If she can still walk, they are too small. When I opened Twitter this morning to post the fact that I was streaming, the top of the responses in my timeline was someone talking about that woman with who is famous for her massive boobs in Aiken, seeing that her boobs actually weren't as big as they remembered them to be, and I was like, that's because you're posting the manga version. The anime version was like way bigger. Kirika Miso no Aiken. See, this is the manga. The boobs are still larger than her head, but I don't know. They seem somewhat contained in her large shoulder width. But in the anime, it seems like they're in a completely different size. This one in particular, it feels like they're trying to alter her skeletal structure, because if they gave her a normal sized rib cage and shoulder width, they wouldn't have enough space to contain each of the individual breasts. So it feels like they're like stretching her skeleton to accommodate for the size of the boobs. A real artist, Oda would have kept her waist skinny. She must be thinner. I had her zoomed up in the beginning, and then I wanted to try to stretch her out because I wanted to draw the legs. This is the problem. If you want to show the legs, you have to pull the camera out. But then once the camera is pulled out, you don't have that close-up lens, so you don't get to feel the three-dimensional curvature of the close-up boobs and shit as well. It's a very, you can't have everything. It's very annoying. Is this the warm-up sketch or the groundwork of a proper piece? I'm really not feeling like drawing anything, to be honest, guys. I've been going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out how to draw and ink quickly and stuff like that for the last 2 days, just like non-stop. And I'm kind of like in the middle of shit. I don't know, man. The requests, they just haven't really been feeling it recently. Like, I'm kind of an ideas guy, So when I'm not feeling the ideas, like the Twitter responses have also been pretty poor. Are you doing your commissions? I don't have any commissions right now. I will have to do commissions soon, I guess, to just to make money because I have to pay rent and stuff like that. But full body body drawings don't have the visual impact that portraits do. Yes, because people just look at the face, right? Ultimately, even like the horniest guy who's like, I only look at women's boobs. There's studies that show that men actually are still looking at the face, even if they claim that they're looking at the boobs. It's kind of the opposite of what, like, the sexist, excuse me, my eyes are up here shit is. It's actually the opposite. Men are still looking at the face. We all just look at the face. That's just what it means to be a human. When will Chad Ford return or the Booba? I have to do like some sort of manga thing that I can send to publishers. I'm in Japan for I don't know how long, so I'm just kind of in a holding pattern right now, which isn't good, but I really want access to an editor to be like, you need to do this. You said ink. Are you going back to trad? God damn it. Shut the fuck up, Constrictor. I'm not going back to trad. It's a fucking phrase. Line work. I'm not going back to... God damn it. Even lower body portraits have more impact. It's like... I don't know, man. So my dark elf stepsister won't leave me alone is abandoned? Not necessarily. But I can't send it to a publisher because it's in English, so... I'm struggling. Chat, give me something to draw. I can't do anything like official right now. I'm fucking struggling. Draw Padme Episode 2 Fireplace Outfit. I will fucking never draw Padme, motherfucker. Sothis? Who's Sothis? Sothis. Fire Emblem. Stupid lowly Mesugaki needs sword correction. So, how is everyone doing today? How's my day? It just started. What an incredibly horrible way to start my day by speaking to chat. The worst possible morning. I can't believe there are people who like get up and like the first thing they do is like, I'm gonna drive to Starbucks and sit in a fucking drive-through behind like 12 other cars so I can get my insanely overpriced $8 coffee or whatever. Like, how the fuck can you do that as the thing you do in the morning? That's insane. Like, how can that shit be your morning ritual? Just mind-blowing stuff. Not to mention it cost you like $5,000 a year. Starbucks large frappuccino. If I got a peppermint mocha frappuccino blended beverage, whole milk, whipped cream, chocolate curls, topping, frappuccino roast pumps with mocha sauce, and get a venti size for 24 ounces. That will be only 530 calories. It's approximately $5.60 or $5.95. So let's say adding tax, that's $6. 6 times 30. It only costs you $180 a month. So a highly affordable $2,160 per year for your extremely unhealthy diabetes coffee experience. Sounds like a bargain if you ask me. The hair is wrong, by the way. This needs to be changed. It's hard to do black hair while also making it look like a PS1 game. I guess it's a PS2 game, but you know what I mean. I only drank company's coffee, the only thing they had. Gotta keep the dev monkeys awake. When I was working as a translator in Toyota, they had those weird, what do you call them? The cup things that like you have to stick in like a special fucking Koenig cups. What the fuck is the company called? I can't remember. So I would drink those. And they weren't any better than like whatever shitty coffee. I don't know. It didn't seem like a particularly, for like all this specialized machines and shit they had, it didn't seem any better than like any other option. I can't believe they were pushing that shit as like the, you know, high quality coffee experience. Hope you're good. My job promised me a ride home if I came in, waited till I got snowed in, and then took it back. So I've been here 24 hours on like 2 hours of sleep. Can't you just sleep in the office? Or will you die from the freezing cold? Why are you drawing George Floyd? Time him out again, Hystrixia. Time him out exactly now. It's an individualized experience, so it's instantly better. Thank you. It's 28 degrees in the office, lol. Fahrenheit, or I'm assuming Fahrenheit if you're in America. We have all these Europeans, so they might be saying in Celsius. If it's Celsius 28 degrees, it's too hot. If it's Fahrenheit 28 degrees, it's too cold. And then you die. I guess you die either way. "28 degrees is a temperature that if it's in if it's your office temperature, it'll be extremely uncomfortable whether it's the European units or freedom units. The company's machine was loaded with roasted coffee beans and was grounded on demand. Boss was a bitch, but the coffee was rich. I used to drink a shit ton of coffee, and it was, I was just fine. And then one day, suddenly, I couldn't drink coffee anymore. I'm not sure what caused it. But, like, I started losing my equilibrium and, like, puking because I was getting vertigo. It was very strange. I love the taste of coffee, but it fucked up my gut. I have the sociopath thing where I like bitter flavors, so I like black coffee as well. But yeah, it's definitely not good for your gut. You can tell you're drinking a way too much acid. There are some things that are part of our modern human diet that we clearly have not evolved to be drinking like 24/7, but we drink it 24/7 anyways, and coffee is like one of them. I think just changing your coffee habit to like tea and lowering your caffeine intake a little bit would probably be beneficial to a lot of people. There's always like these studies that come out like every 5 years where like one study is just like coffee is really bad for you, it's unhealthy, and the other study is like actually no, coffee is good for you. But there aren't any studies that say that like green tea is bad for you. It's always like green tea will increase your lifespan by like 50 years or some shit like that, so. Why not just eat Sour Patch Kids? Oh wait, you're in Japan, where normal sweets aren't life-threatening. Or do you think Sour Patch Kids are life-threatening? I would eat the shit out of Sour Patch Kids if I didn't, you know, mind getting cancer or whatever. Coffee is only 1 cup per day. Yeah, black tea still has a shit ton of caffeine, so I think it's just a fine coffee alternative unless you're truly addicted to caffeine. I mean, this is the stuff that the British Empire went to war with China and gave them like opium and, you know, caused a war over this shit, so. If it was good enough for the British Empire being like, we need to work our shitty ass, poorly paid factory workers in the textile mills 24/7 as they get their arms cut off by exposed machinery, if that was their caffeine drink of choice, then it's probably good enough for us as well. Green tea gives me caffeine with none of the dizziness and panic attacks. Yeah. I would be drinking more green tea, but I truly have cut all caffeine from my life. Britain went to war for so many spices they refused to use on their own food. They just wanted to kill people. They were just trying to civilize society, guys. That is a good question. If Britain was like wanted spices so bad, why is British food still so awful? Spices were used to mask the taste of rotten food before they invented refrigeration. Yes, but you'd think that as long as they were putting the spices on the food, they'd be able to figure out how to make the food taste better because they're using so much spices, right? And yet, if you go to Britain, literally the only food that you can get, if you're like, let me try the local cuisine, is like, look, we have beer and deep fried fish. That's it. And then if you want to eat anything decent, you have to go to the local Pakistani curry restaurant or something and get it, you know, fries covered in curry or something like that. I don't fucking know what you get, but... Let's draw Big Smoke. I never tried British food, so I don't know. I'm not even sure if British food exists. People are being like, no, the breakfast is good, and they just show a fucking plate full of just random shit that they found and cooked and threw it on a fucking plate, and they're like, no, this is so good. Behold, the wonders of British cuisine. When the British are like, no guys, really, British food is good. This is the best they have to show you. This giant fucking plate of beans, 2 tomatoes, a piece of toast, a bunch of mushrooms, and this black thing, and an egg. They're like, guys, look, here's proof. Here's proof that we know how to cook. We have a bunch of stuff and we put it in the frying pan. Look how sophisticated our cuisine is. It's actually kind of sad. Not gonna lie, looks tasty in my opinion. The full extent of their cuisine is just like cooking a bunch of shit they found in their backyard. Do you fuck with Caribbean food like oxtail? I've had oxtail before. There was a Jamaican restaurant back in America in my city. It was pretty good. Unlike the British, the Jamaicans understood how to use spices, so it was kind of tasty, yes. The dried blood disc that tastes like pennies. If you told me that they have that black disc, it's just like they obtain it by just like going to a woman and having her like spew menstrual blood into something and just like, here, eat it now. I'd be like, sure, seems about right. It's not being snuck into spaghetti, though. I'm not afraid of these witches. I could eat your menstrual blood into your spaghetti and probably not notice and be fine. If you're an American and you eat fast food, you probably eat people's like boogers and cum anyways. So how much worse can a witch's menstrual blood possibly be? I'm not afraid of your craft, witch. The hat is too big. How do you draw the lip of this hat? I can't tell if it's what the shape of the, what do you call it, that thing is, the brim is. The Wendy's chili thumb. Burger King lettuce. I don't know about Burger King lettuce. Burger King lettuce. Feet in photo. Bro, he didn't even take off his shoes. How the fuck are we gonna get the full flavor of the feet? Is the Burger King foot lettuce guy dead? All we know about the famous internet meme sensation 6 months ago. As soon as anybody goes viral, we're like, a month later, we're like, are they dead? Do you think hemorrhoid blood and menstrual blood are on the same level? One has more stem cells. Try both. The hemorrhoid blood ain't special, bro. It's just coming out of... It's just normal blood. I'm glad the Burger King foot lettuce guy got fired and doxxed. Honestly, if you go to Burger King in America, you basically deserve what you get in the first place, so... Why do people keep on going to Chipotle after it's had, like, one hepatitis A outbreak every month for the last 10 years? People really just be like, nah, it's good. I'm still going to Chipotle. If you follow the NBA, there's a relatively famous general manager in the NBA called Danny Ainge, who works for the Celtics and now he works for the Utah Jazz, but he's infamous for only eating Chipotle. And I thought it was a meme, but then I recently was listening to a podcast for like a rookie on the Utah Jazz, and he was talking about when he got interviewed by Danny Ainge and whether he was going to come to the Utah. And Danny Ainge took him to a fancy restaurant where he could like order lobster or something. And he was talking to the general manager, and Danny was like, I won't be eating anything here because I'm gonna go eat Chipotle. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, I thought that he was eating Chipotle because it was, like, convenient or something, but he's literally just, like, only eating Chipotle when he has, like, better food options directly in front of him. He's just like, nah, I have to go to Chipotle instead. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this man? The Chipotle cult runs deep. I don't understand. I used to go to Chipotle, and then I realized that basically I was just eating the flavor of beans. Beans and rice. And I have beans and rice at home, and I could eat it for like 1/10 the price of what I was paying for at Chipotle, so then I stopped eating Chipotle. Burger King came clutch for me at 11:20 p.m. where the worker was so nice and she gave me the hottest, freshest fries ever. I will never switch up on the King. So, apparently there's like a secret thing that you can do in fast food in America, and that's if you ask for low salt fries, they have to make a new batch because they've already salted the ones that are sitting inside the bin. So then you have to wait an extra 5 minutes, but then you'll get one that's fresh out of the fryer because they have to remake it for you. And then they'll like have your fries salted less, and they'll be new. This is a pro tip apparently. I've tried it once, but then I was like, this is stupid. I don't go to fast food for quality. I go to get my arteries stuffed with salt and fat and, you know, not give a fuck. So I don't think anyone has ever asked for low salt fries. It's not like they don't have to make more fries anyway, so it's not like you're being a cunt about this. Truly un-American, yes. It would have been funny if the whole September 11th, the French aren't supporting our excursion into Iraq, so we're going to call French fries freedom fries from now on, actually caught on, and the rest of America just started calling them freedom fries. We should call everything French freedom. A baguette? No, this is a freedom bread. Excuse me while I freedom kiss my wife. On the food meter, have you found any good restaurants in your area yet? There's a few, but I have to go to the train station, which is like a 20-minute walk. So as a result, I primarily rely on the local grocery stores, which have good food. All the food is good in Japan in general. This is like a heavily residential area, so it takes a while for me to get to the commercial areas. He has like 3 bakeries near him. There's a ton of bakeries everywhere, but there's also bread just like everywhere in general. There's more bread than there's rice right now for some reason. The rice is extremely overpriced right now. There's some weird ass like price spike in rice, and it's not even like based on demand. It's just based on like some weird supply chain like fight that's going on between the farmers unionization or some shit like that. There's this organization in Japan called Nokyo, which is like farmers something, I don't know. And people have complained about it forever, but it's like affecting prices right now. I don't know what's going on. There are good restaurants at the train station. There's a McDonald's, the best restaurant of all. There are good restaurants, but I'm living the poverty lifestyle right now, so I haven't really been utilizing them. Also, the matcha supply got fucked because of the trends abroad. This is like Sushi Part 2. Stupid foreigners figure out that the Japanese are eating better food than them, and then they start, you know, eating the same food as the Japanese, and we all get fucked. We can't eat it anymore. It's just like gaijin, stop picking up Japanese food trends. Why the fuck do they have to keep on getting like the good food? If the gaijin could imitate the Japanese food trend of eating smaller portions, maybe it would help with your massive obesity rates. But obviously, that would be too convenient. How's the bean variety? The bean variety, I haven't really found much like canned beans, but I haven't been looking for it. Primarily because I eat beans in like the forms of like soybeans every single day because of all the tofu and natto and stuff consumption. So I'm like, that's enough beans for me. I assume there's canned beans somewhere, but I haven't been looking for them. The grocery stores are pretty packed with different food items, so it's very hard for me to find shit. It's not like my American grocery food experience in which like the halls are very large and there's like lots of shelves and shit, but the actual variety isn't very that high. These Japanese grocery stores are relatively small, and then they pack a ton of shit into these small areas, so it's really hard to find shit. Matcha was supposed to be ceremonial, but people overconsume it. It just tastes too good to be ceremonial, unfortunately. It's a good thing that we don't have, like, human sacrifices that were supposed to be ceremonial, and then people try it, and then they realize cannibalism is absolutely delicious, because we would start wiping out the human race when people realize that human flesh is so tasty. If people are like, damn, this is so much better than beef, imagine the horrible consequences. We just start having, like, human farms just for consumption. You just described Soylent Green. No, Soylent Green it's a convenient way to recycle already people that are gonna die anyways. It's not, and it doesn't, it's not like they're just because it's delicious. I'm just saying that if humans realize that humans taste better than any of their other meat products, kind of like matcha, they like create some sort of excuse to create human farms just so we could eat more people. Notice how all the vegans or like environmentalists being like, we need to stop eating cows, it's bad for the environment, hasn't really dented our beef consumption because it tastes too fucking good. So if the same thing happened when we realized that people taste good, we'd all be in trouble because we'd start like creating excuses for us to eat each other. He's describing Tender is the Flesh. I haven't eaten it. I haven't eaten it. I haven't watched Tender is the Flesh, but yes. Third World Human Farms. They would definitely have it. One of my favorite manga, Battle Angel Alita. In the future, they have immortality surgery. And when everybody doesn't die from old age, children become more of a harm to the social order. So they're illegal on a lot of different planets. And on some planets, they're just like, they just straight up eat people. They're like delicious human children. They're just eating the kids like veal. Battle Angel Alita, famous for its optimistic, happy view of the future. What are your thoughts on 2001 Space Odyssey? When the monkey started hitting the bones, I was like, for real, this bussin' no cap. People new to the 2001 Space Odyssey experience may think that the meat of the movie is when they're like, Hal opened the pod bay doors, but the real 2001 heads know that the people in monkey suits running around in the primordial ancient human history part is the real 2001 experience right there, baby. Grove Street. Home. At least until I fuck everything up. The meat is the trippy time travel scene, space baby. I can't remember. Were there any female astronauts on the space expedition with the HAL? Or were they all men? Because I just got an idea of maybe you could convince HAL to like give you access to one of the hibernating sleep female astronauts for, you know, reasons on your long space journey. All dudes? Well, okay, that doesn't disqualify what I'm talking about. You can still access, you know, the dudes for reasons as well. Mouthwashing? Is mouthwashing just 2001 A Space Odyssey, except there's a sexy girl failure that gets raped or something? The only thing I know about mouthwashing is uh, all the meme stuff on 4chan, and I definitely don't plan on playing it, so... Hey, let's tell our story out of order to fuck with the player. Many such cases, people are like, Memento, it's a masterpiece, but it's just telling the story in reverse. That seems like a good pro narrative tip, is if you have a very basic ass story, just tell it in the opposite order and people will be like, this is so profound. I fell for the hype, just watching someone play it is the same. I've noticed that a lot of video games, you don't need to actually play the video game because there's only one way to play the video game and it's not hard enough for it to make any difference. Like, I'm a big fan of Uncharted games, but watching a playthrough of someone play Uncharted is exactly the same as playing Uncharted. The experience of pressing the buttons in Uncharted, except for like a few interesting combat sections, doesn't change at all the core experience of Uncharted. It's just find the right pathway and then jump from ledge to ledge, and then press the button to shoot the gun, and then you watch the cutscenes. It's still one of the best, like movie experience games, but that's what movie experience games comes down to, right? There's no like, if a game doesn't have a fail state that is powerful enough where you actually can't proceed forward without learning extremely complex mechanics and stuff like that, then like what's the point of consuming something in a video game format? Twitter got mad at the Nendoroido version of the girl from mouthwashing. Why would they get mad about that? Are they like, she's a rape victim? Not specified, but we're gonna assume she's a rape victim, so she can't have cute Nendoroido version? Yes, LMAO. So when a woman gets her sexual freedom taken away through sexual assault, she also loses her right to have cute Nendoroido made out of her. That's pretty dumb. Also, it completely removes the possibility of me having my Deliverance themed Nendoroidos. My hillbilly ass rape Nendoroido. The rations they got us all require boiling water at specific measurements. We have no way on site to boil or measure water. Can you just eat it without using the boiling water? Did they give you like MREs? Although I guess MREs, they don't need you to the boiling water because you can just like pull the string, right? I don't remember how MREs work. I am eating dry powdered beef stroganoff. The the only liquid you need is the one in your mouth, your saliva. Your own saliva is just as good as boiled water, my friend. Easy. Think of it as deconstructed beef stroganoff. Think that you're living in a dystopian future instead of a dystopian present. It's just like my cyberpunk video games, except they usually have like a machine in cyberpunk that actually like produces some kind of edible food. It just tastes bad. Just think of it like this. Millionaire tech bros will waste their time drinking Soylent nonstop and think that they're getting a good deal and pay extra for that shit. And that's even less real food than the powdered beef stroganoff you're eating right now. Are you taking requests this stream? I don't know. Right now I'm drawing deconstructed version of visual information. Sometimes the artist gets tired of drawing three-dimensionally sound images. Picasso vibes, it really do be like that. So much of what we consider to be quote unquote quote good art is just like learning how to render three-dimensional objects. And then Picasso was like, but I don't want to do that. And I'm also like, yes, I also don't want to do it. I prefer symbol drawing over properly thought out three-dimensional drawings. I cooked brown rice and chicken breast today, cheap and not industrialized mostly. We shouldn't talk about our experiences of eating real tasty food while a different person in chat has to eat their powdered beef stroganoff without water. Or maybe we should do the opposite and talk about our favorite types of food just to psychologically torture them. Perhaps that is more entertaining. It's like one of those like prison or survival movies where the people that have like a high chance of death are like, "What? Hey Sam, what are you gonna eat when we get out of here? When we get back to the Shire?" Oh, I'd love some bacon, Mr. Frodo. Do you use reference for this one? No, I found a reference. If you want to make something look like Los Angeles, though, you just need to draw a bunch of palm trees. And that I don't necessarily need a reference for. Wasn't there like a big donut place in San Andreas, or am I thinking of a different video game? What was the donut location? Tough Nut. Jim's Sticky Ring. You guys remember this? Because I guess I did. You know what makes Rockstar games so impressive? It's the lighting. The lighting that they got in the PS2 era, somehow you just immediately feels like Los Angeles or South Central. And they have different lighting for the LA area, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. Just like the color of the skyboxes and the way the intensity of the light, it's distinctly different. Same thing for like the pavement textures and shit. Somehow with the PS2 technology, they were able to create like a cityscape that feels exactly on point. Like, you know that they had like experience actually going there and like checking shit out, right? You know, it's just really impressive. In fact, because they had to like exaggerate and create more simplified versions of shit in San Andreas PS2, I feel like it's even more poignant than the GTA 5 version of San Andreas. Color lights to give vibes. It was a nice way to mask limitation with artistic skill. It's just a good example of how, with the increase in graphical capabilities, it just made developers extremely lazy. Instead of making them use the full capabilities, instead they just, you know, be like, you must install this 500 gigabyte file because we don't know how to compress things anymore. CJ, follow the damn train. Is the CJ follow the damn train mission the most annoying and difficult mission out of all of the GTA games? It's endlessly memed. I myself failed it like 12 times, I think. Games look super busy now. They're so detailed they make my head hurt after a while. Evidence A of this is Tekken 8, I would say. Fighting games, they have to have a better way to concisely transmit information because you have to be like reading the opponent's moves and shit. But Tekken 8, they basically reached the whatever graphical capabilities you needed with Tekken 7, but they still have to justify releasing a new game. So instead of like concise information, there's just like a shit ton of particle effects no matter what happens, and it's blurry and hard to tell what's going on, and it doesn't actually make the game better. It doesn't contribute to the gameplay. Piloting the RC copter was the worst one. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I failed the RC copter more than I failed the chase after the train part. Also, the guys are too muscular in Tekken 8. Instead of focusing on making the guys look like they've all taken a shit ton of trenbolone, they should make the girls look hotter. Tekken 8 females are always like sort of hot. Not even Tekken 8. Tekken females are always like kind of hot, but they're when like you put them in the swimsuit costumes, they're never hot enough. You know what I mean? They should have focused more on making the girls hotter. It's a shame because the character designs are always super hot, but in-game they're not as hot. Sounds like a you problem. I have high standards for my fighting game females because I grew up on the 2D sprite work of Capcom and SNK, and nothing gets hotter than the sprites crafted by the finest animators in the land. Pixelated King Booba. It's important that the woman that is somewhat dressed like a man, her chest, her shirt explodes, and you can see her bra when you defeat her. Because if that didn't happen, I might not understand that she was a female. And I could be sexually confused. But thanks to her chest exploding outward and seeing the bra, I now know that I am not gay. Thank you, SNK. A little treat for winning. In the art of fighting, there's like a stage in which you can knock characters off, like a pier into the water. And when that happens, I believe like she comes out of the water and realizes she lost her shirt. And then she's like, "Kya, I am embarrassed because you can see my boobs," or something like that. I forgot specifically how it goes, but yeah, they spent a lot of time caring about the little details back then. Ultimately, SNK hasn't been great in a very long time, but at least getting acquired by Saudi Arabian hedge funds or whatever they're owned by right now hasn't resulted in any kind of censorship. That's basically the only good part. They should have stuck to pixel sprites. Unfortunately, pixel sprites are very expensive to create, is what I've been told. And there are not many people who can do them. It almost bankrupted them, apparently, creating the pixel sprites that they made in some of the KOFs. So, not almost. They literally went bankrupt. So, yeah. Also, the people who are making those high quality sprites you like back in the day were getting paid peanuts and sleeping under their desks to meet deadlines. None of that shit was sustainable. It was only sustainable when, like, you would release KOF 93 and then people would sit in the arcade all day long and waste all of their quarters on it. 90s Japanese work culture was wild. I mean, there was money to be made, so people were willing to, do stupid shit. I don't think you can find people like that anymore. You can find people who work for cheap, but they're like Indian and they don't know how to do sprite work. The kind of like quality of living standards versus the actual technical skill not matching up is like one of the trademarks of 90s Japanese quality. Is like, you are one of the best animators on the planet and we also will never pay you nothing. We'll never pay you a single cent, and also you must make macros now. Where did the talent go? Hentai retired, all of the above retired, and also they're making like Jujutsu Kaisen and shit. A lot of it is just retired, but yeah. Sprite talent is retired. They didn't have to train anybody to make new sprites. I mean, you were making it sound like we had sprite work recently, but we haven't had, like, relevant sprite games for the last, like, 40 years, so chill the fuck out. It's 2026, people. King of Fighters 12, what happened? Yeah. That doesn't excuse the SNK 3D models looking like shit, though. I'm not sure why they can't make 3D models. Just because you're not sticking to sprites doesn't necessarily mean your 3D model has to look weird. Not even weird, like a budget PS2 game. They've gotten slightly better after that, but they're still kind of like low quality and weird looking. Actually, the only success we've had in terms of 3D fighting game models is Guilty Gear Xrd. If people could just copy whatever the fuck Arc System Works is doing with Xrd and stuff like that, then we'd be fine. Thoughts on City of the Wolves? Did you nope out? Bro, I ain't playing any actual SNK games. That shit is so fucking complex. The only way I will play an SNK game is staring at King's Booba in the arcade in the year 94. I can't learn how to do Roman cancels and 5 different hop jump steps and shit like that. Why are the Indians and Vietnamese in Japan now? To work at a local convenience store. Ugh. I had Indian dude process my health insurance payments at local 7-Eleven last night. He was properly trained and knew how to do it. And I was being the weird foreigner who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and the Indian guy who has gotten proper 7-Eleven training seemed to be doing fine. So, all in all, the Japanese foreigner situation is, it seems to be okay, I'll say. Average Indian 7-Eleven worker in Japan who has gotten proper training for 2 weeks is 100 times more competent than average American Burger King worker who is not an immigrant and has gotten 0 training, and nobody cares about the quality of the service. So Ronaldo Sue, I forgot they did that. How much money did they pay Ronaldo to be in their video game? do you think? I guess it doesn't matter because it's Saudi Arabian money, but... I gave your mom proper training last night. God, I wish everybody's mom was like hot like anime moms were. I want to live in the world in which you go home to your girlfriend's house and her mom is hotter than your girlfriend. I like that timeline where the girlfriend's mother is just a sexier, bigger boobed version of your girlfriend, and then you get them as like a combo. 2 for the price of 1. If only it were true, yeah. If we were living in the shoujo manga version of that, if you were dating like a hot boy that was really nice, you were just an average looking female, except you're hot looking, but you're an average looking female, and then you date your super sexy looking senpai, and then one day your senpai comes to your room and rapes you, and you're like, why did you do that, senpai? And then it turns out that that wasn't actually your senpai, it was his evil twin bad boy brother. And you're like, oh my god, now there's 2 men. One who is the good boy and one who is the bad boy. And who sexually assaults me, but he's hot, so it's okay. Hashtag average shoujo manga protagonist problems. And then probably one of them dies from like some unexplained sickness or some shit like that. Still a better plot than Sword Art Online. Still a better love story than Twilight. I mean, isn't that exactly the Twilight storyline, though? Bad boy vampire who claims he cares about you the most versus good boy werewolf who also claims he cares about you the most. I'm not going to say that male-oriented media is like masterpiece after masterpiece, but once you start consuming the female-oriented media that is extremely popular, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with these women? Can't they think of anything better than this? And the answer is, the ones that think of stories that are better than that don't sell 1 trillion copies, so, yeah. Twilight gave us the Omegaverse silence. I'm pretty sure Twilight was not the originator of the Omegaverse. GTA. Supernatural is the origin of the Omegaverse. Let's ask AI. And use 10 trillion gigawatts of electricity. Grok. What is the original, the media property from which the Omegaverse initially originated from. From fanfiction, specifically within the fandom of American TV series Supernatural. Often involving parents like Jared, Jensen, RPF, or Wincest. Jared is a cowboy through and through. A Fort Worth, Texas native who owns a saloon at the stockyards alongside his friend Chad. Jared leads a quiet life between managing the bar and his physical issues, which he downplays more often than not. One of Jared's passions is to play piano, and he spends his evenings at the apartment that he shares with no one. 1 out of 20 of 13,320 works in Jensen Ackley's Jared Padalecki. This isn't even the supernatural category. This is just this fucking pairing right here. We have an actual fucking Chinese person writing this shit. There's 19,000 supernatural works, of which 13,000 is these two guys. Is that where Wincest is from? I'm pretty sure Wincest comes from something before that, but it might as well be. I watched Supernatural 15 seasons like hundreds of times, so that's how I know about Omegaverse. I don't even know what these characters look like, guys. I should probably not have the slash if I'm going to open up the image search, because that real person fiction super wiki. The truly sick Fujoshi will look at this photo and be like, look at the actors touching each other in public. You know what that means. They're actually gay for each other. My fan fiction is becoming reality. These guys look very generic white boys. Gay shipping aside, is Supernatural even a good show? I'm gonna guess no. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but for bros and homosexual undertones. Does Buffy the Vampire Slayer have any lesbian undertones? Or is it just her and Angel or something? I was able to successfully miss the entire Buffy craze, despite it being, like, highly relevant to my generation. Thankfully, my mother spared me from TV, so... Yes, Willow. Buffy would be better if it was an anime and she said Kya Baka. If it was an anime, Buffy would be... She would be up for instant loss pretty quickly, I would think. You will never defeat me. I am a vampire slayer. In fact, the only TV channel I got in my... Because we didn't have cable, and I wasn't really changing the TV antenna, so I only got one channel, and it was Warner Brothers channel, the local Warner Brothers news station or something. So I got a lot of Looney Tune reruns when I got back from school. And then also I think they were playing stuff like Seventh Heaven. You guys know Seventh Heaven? There was this whole slew of Warner Brothers, I don't know what kind of TV shows you would categorize it, like teen dramas. Do you like the Animaniacs? The Animaniacs were definitely an important thing that was playing after school for me, yeah. If you were 10 years old, Pinky and the Brain was like extremely degenerate, terrifying content. The concept of a mouse genius. Oh. Oh. Did you watch the original Batman animated series? Yeah, I watched that as well. That mirror is a pedo? Why? He's saying that the queen is the hottest. Wouldn't if he be a pedo, he'd be saying Snow White is hotter than her because she's 12 or something? I don't understand your logic. The mirror in Snow White saying that the girls is the most beautiful in the land is a teen girl. Dwarf saves Snow White only for Prince Charming to come in and snatch her up cucked. The dwarves were gay, yes. The dwarves are not attracted to some stupid human bitch. They have more important things to do, like mine. Those rocks aren't gonna mine themselves, okay? The dwarves have gay sex while thinking about digging holes. Guys, not all dwarves are gay. We just like having sex with thick, hairy women who are indistinguishable from other men. You don't understand. That doesn't make us gay. See, if this was like the 80s or the 70s and stuff, all the jokes would be about how Snow White is having massive gangbangs with all the dwarves. But in 2026, we go straight from, instead of being like, oh, Dorothy is having sex with the Tin Man and the Lion and the Scarecrow, it's a massive gangbang. We're just like, no, Dorothy is sitting on the sidelines while she watches the gay sex happen. Have you noticed that? We no longer make the joke of, look, there's a female surrounded by men. They must all be having sex with her. Instead, we're like, ha, look at that female surrounded by man. I bet she has to watch as all the guys have gay sex. Ha ha. We've actually gone to that point. We just assume that the guys are having hot gay sex while the female isn't ever getting touched. That's how Snow White became a Fuji. Fuji being the apple that she was eating. The most delicious of apple brands. The Fuji apples. Gay sex, especially between straight men, is safe horny in 2026. It really is. We're just like, haha, but what if all the guys were having gay sex? And everyone's like, haha, that's so funny. I too enjoy the gay sex. I partake in the gay sex for shit and giggles. The funniest of all pranks, the gay sex prank. Doc, are you the Seme? Who is the Seme? If you have 7 dwarfs, then just naturally there's going to be some imbalance in the Seme versus Uke, unless you have like a all-powerful Uke who's taking 3 cocks at a time. I assume that Dopey is Uke. Grumpy, I'm sure, is Seme. Dopey is the most obvious Uke of all time. Grumpy is secretly an Uke. Grumpy is probably what we call a Sasoi Uke, which means you're Uke, but you like invitingly you welcome the cock. You take the aggressive. What's the English term for this? You're the one taking it, but you're the one initiating. Power bottom? Yeah, I guess it would be a power bottom. No shaft shall go unpolished. They rotate the semi double duty. Alright, now that we've gone in full gay dwarf discussion. Disney Snow White dwarfs. LMAO, the top search gives you the, well, not in the images, but the AI overview gives you the fucking despised 3D version as the first image. Once again, proving AI being absolutely worthless. At least it's only the second shot. Now, this is a good way to ruin all of your Fujoshi fantasies, is by showing this abomination. Talk about maximum level of, like, Uncanny Valley right here, boys. Look at that. It truly is, like, when they talk about Uncanny Valley, they should just show this image of something that, like, it looks hyper realistic, but, like, everything is slightly off. It just feels so wrong. Imagine that you're a highly paid Disney 3D animator and this is what you're being forced to make in your spare time, or not spare time, all day long, I guess, because they were on, like, a horrible deadline, I heard. Look at this body right here, especially. This head size versus this body shape. If the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial was kind of the end of the Believe All Women era of Me Too, then I'm going to say that the Snow White 3D Snow White movie was the end of everything is going to be DEI. We don't care if the viewers don't want it. They'll watch it anyways. That crashing was basically when Disney had to recalculate everything. Anything that's coming out now is like shit that was already in the pipeline. But I think that was when they were truly forced to face reality. Easier to throw out than an actual animated film. I mean, they have a lot of 3D CG artists just sort of sitting around, or not sitting around. I guess they're overworked because they have to do like all the CG for all the Marvel movies and shit as well. But it doesn't require like creative input and vision, right? Because, like, you already have something to base it off of. The thing about Disney is that it's something that's aimed as, this goes for all children's media, but it's something that's aimed at children, but the people that decide to spend money aren't children. This is the paradox of children's media. Children don't have money. So once you have like the seat at the table as like you're a place that produces children's media, then you market yourself to the parents, and what the parents want is to be able to take their kid to the fucking theater so they can get like 2 hours of peace and quiet while they go and take a smoke break while the kid's sitting in the movie theater or some shit like that. So you're not actually marketing your product to the people that are supposed to be consuming it. Disney adults being like a whole different thing, but children's media is weird like that, in that you don't actually have to create quality product because the kids don't have their own taste yet. So you're actually marketing to the parents, and a lot of the parents just don't give a fuck. They want the kid to shut up, so... Could you make the queen have a fat ass? She doesn't need metal hoops to fill her dress's skirt. I'm not going to redraw the other panels just so you can see a more obvious ass curve. I know this is very hard for people to come to terms with, but when there is lots of fabric in something like a dress, you can't see like every single ass curve, okay? That's just, you have to just come to terms with that. That's not how drapery and fabric works. I assume Snow White was reasonably expensive. Snow White was 270 million LMAO, yes. It's all very funny. Even like tight mini skirts, it's very hard to see the ass shape. This is why Americans have invented jeans, so you can look at women's asses. You can't accomplish that with skirts. Anime involves underpaying workers? Kind of. You can have low-budget anime as well, of course. The Edwardians came and made it all about the shoulders and boobs. Hystrixia is salty because she, no matter how much of a push-up corset she wears, she will never have the massive mammaries required to wear those like St. Pauli girl dresses or whatever. Edwardian dress. I don't know. They don't have that much chest. They don't have like the corset. I guess they have some, but... there is the push-up from having like the really thin waist. But like maybe if we put some like padding in here and then drape the cloth on top, we wouldn't be able to tell that the boobs are small or something. Doesn't the bottom of the skirt get dirty? You're not supposed to be walking around outside. Okay. That's for the peasants to do. Gotta lean to hip maxing if you're flat. How about thigh maxing? All these people are adding like, talking about adding fat to your ass and stuff. But if you thigh max, you can just do it through sheer muscle mass. This should be every female's ideal body. Just go for this shape right here. All you need to do is do 10,000 squats per day to get to the Baki body and have your shorts be stretched so tight you can barely fit into them. Going outside is for poor people and degenerate suffragettes who wear pants and ride bicycles. Yes. The horror, the horror. We must not allow that. I know one person with Baki legs, their dedication is astounding. I started doing squats when I got to Japan because I don't have a gym to go to, and I feel like way healthier. They really do sort of help your entire body just by having a strong core and lower body. We should all just do squats all the time. You tend to have a lot of torpedo boobs in your art. Is that your preference or whatever you'd call them? She's an evil queen. If she didn't have torpedo boobs, I wouldn't be doing my duty. I'm just trying to do what's right, okay? The world is full of so many injustices. Making sure evil queen lady has big, thick, long torpedo boobs is the least I can do to make the world a better place. You guys notice I have a new pen again. I'm going through the how to draw fast testing again, and I'm like, I need to figure out a pen that will allow me to draw things very quickly. So I've been downloading the most popular pens from the Clip Studio Paint. This one's called Sengayo Pen. Literally means pen for drawing line drawings. It's the most popular one that you can get at the top. So I was doing some sketch practice, time sketch practice recently. But you can see the power of this pen. It's very kind of, how you put it, scratchy. But I don't have to really worry about it in terms of the line quality. So I was thinking, like, what do we consider to be like good lines, right? It's lines that kind of flow, and we sense the feeling of flow by the act of the thickness of the line getting thinner. And then you can do that two ways. You can either go thick to thin, like just flicking your hand like this, or you can go thin to thick by going fast and then stopping it. And then you connect the thick parts, and then the thin part is just the speed areas right here. So I was sort of categorizing the pens that I've been using into different types. And then I went online and tried downloading new ones. And this is the most popular one. What I noticed with this is that, I don't know, I was drawing this without worrying about the pen thickness and like pen pressure and stuff. And it seems to, even though it's like relatively stable in its thickness to thinness, I feel like I can draw these lines without huge variation in line width and still make the drawing look good. I have to test it a little bit more, but if I can just like draw without worrying too much about line width and just like just put the lines down, and then, for example, just make a few thick lines on the outside, I feel like that would be way faster. I mean, it's such a subjective thing, right? Like, what do we consider to be messy line work? What do we consider to be loose line work? What do we consider to be, like, robotic and boring line work, what we consider to be like tight professional looking line work. So much of it is just you trying to figure out what you think looks good. It's very hard to find like objective ideas of what is good line work and what is bad line work. What about intentionality? Well, when I have fewer things I need to worry about in terms of the line thickness, that allows me to be more intentional with my line angles and line positioning and stuff. We'll see. The thing is, I need to be able to draw a full page of manga in about 4 to 5 hours. Even if we're not going to count stuff like backgrounds and shit. So the question, it comes down to, will I be able to do that, and how will I be able to do that? If you're just rushing to complete the product, you won't be able to truly improve your efficiency, which is done through intentional work. Get it done right, then you can get it done quick. No. No. Nope, that's wrong. You have to be intentional, but also quick. I'm not talking about... You're talking in, like, vague concepts, bro. I'm thinking in concrete ideas of, if I need to, for example, like I was looking at a tutorial of a guy who was saying, I use this pen, this Memio pen, and I double and triple line like that, which is what I was doing here. This is triple line using this pen right here. But just in terms of absolute terms in how much time it takes you to draw something, it's going to take you more time to draw something if you're going to draw 3 lines instead of 1 line, right? So what takes more time? Taking 1 line, but then having to like connect the line like I'm doing right now? Or doing 2 or 3 lines, or having to redo the line? Every time you redo the line, that's also extra time. So what you need is a pen that allows you to draw the line on the first try and doesn't require you to do much like fiddling with it and have it look professional looking on the first try. So I don't know if this is the pen that's going to allow me to do that, but I'm someone who gets super obsessed with my pen shape, my line shape, and ends up redrawing shit a lot. So I just can't let myself do that if I want to get anything done. there has to be a faster, more efficient way to draw, or else there wouldn't be any professional mangaka out there. I mean, look at high quality gesture drawings and stuff. Those are drawn in like 2 or 3 minutes. And we don't consider them to be quote unquote finished, but they're you know, they're pretty close to being finished, I would say. So even if I have to do like the concrete inking process, it shouldn't take me like more than 50 minutes or an hour to draw a full figure body, even if it's a relatively complex pose. It's me basically overthinking the process and overthinking my lines. I don't wonder if some of them just don't put much thought into it. I mean, does it really matter if the end product looks good? The point is what the readers think. I mean, I don't even know what I think about my own lines. I'll look at a line sketch I did like a month after I drew it and I'm like, this looks fine. Or I'll be like, I thought this looked really good back at the time, but now I decide I don't like it. Trying to figure out how big her boobs are supposed to be. Ginormous. They're moderate sized boobs. Pretty average sized boobs for an average sized guy. I think a lot of readers can't really tell the difference between pens, which is all the more the reason why I need to stop worrying about my line quality and go with whatever will allow me to draw fastest. I do see comments beneath Japanese manga that I read online where some people will complain about certain lines and stuff. So it's not a problem until it bugs you, is what it comes down to. And it's gonna bug some people and not bug others. For example, what do you guys think about manga like Sakamoto Days? Sakamoto Days has a very distinct thick to or thin to thick pen inking style. I don't know what pen he's using, which would have been considered sloppy and too loose back in the day, but nowadays it's considered to be high quality. I don't wonder if there's a good page that I can show that really illustrates the level of, well, you know what I'm talking about. it's trendy nowadays to have thin to thick, thin to thick. Traditionally, it was always thick to thin. You were supposed to use your G pen and make these kinds of lines, and then connect the lines and stuff. But I don't think that's what they're using. Now that a lot of people are going digital like me, what we thought that was traditionally what you had to use is no longer being used. The one thing that I'm really aware of is that I have to add large black areas. That I'm very confident that needs to be done. I was listening to a podcast of people, professional mangaka, questioning how they could draw faster. And one of the advices was sometimes instead of worrying about the lines, you just need to make something look finished, all you need to do is just add these beta. The black areas is what it's called, beta. So stuff like this. So now I just make sure to add those as I go, because it gives me a stronger idea of what I'm actually, what the page actually needs. Once you have the big black regions in place, you can make decisions on other things, like how much gray you want to add, I feel. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. See you around, boys. I will post the San Andreas pic for shits and giggles on Twitter. Good night, Buzz.